All right, welcome to episode 194 of Backpacking America. This one is all about Juneteenth. I'm joined by Dr. Christopher Verga, who's going to give us a little bit of historical insight on Juneteenth because he is the grand wizard of all things knowledgeable. Welcome back, Chris. It's great to have you back on. I know it's been quite some time, but we're going to kick some ass this time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. It's always a pleasure. So tell us a little bit about Juneteenth. A lot of us know it as an extra day off, or that it the baseline freed the slaves at the end of the Civil War. But you have a much more in depth and nuanced understanding of the event. So, for someone that has no idea what the holiday's really about, can you explain it to us?
Yeah, so Juneteenth is the official Emancipation Day, June 19th, 1865. In Galveston, Texas, Union General I can never say this guy's name right, Granger. He gave a proclamation saying all enslaved Africans, slavery is abolished, and all enslaved Africans essentially not in bondage anymore. And Galveston, Texas was the last holdout for slavery. So this was the real Emancipation Day. And of course, in 2021, Joe Biden made it an official federal holiday. In addition to that, a lot of people see Juneteenth. They see it as an extra day because they don't understand the concept that, a lot of people think that the Emancipation Proclamation freed slaves, but that's not true. The Emancipation Proclamation, which was proclaimed by Lincoln in 1863, pretty much all it did was it was a proclamation to free slaves in Confederate states, or states in insurrection against the Union. So that didn't really free slaves. All that was kind of like symbolism to increase the Union soldiers' enlistment. And they were hoping to get some of the black regiments to enlist, run away from the plantation South and enlist in the North. So, and once again, it was really celebrated officially in Emancipation Park in Houston, Texas. That's where the first celebration was. Did I kind of cover that? You have any other questions? My detailed enough?
No, I mean that's pretty detailed. I'm just kind of curious though. What was the event that freed all the slaves in the United States? If it wasn't that.
Well, it was the obviously the 13th Amendment and everything, but it was the official proclamation that freed the slaves. I think it was General Order 3 that announced emancipation for all the slaves. The Union Army generals were supposed to provide General Order 3, which was assuring that all enslaved Africans were free. And this was specific, that we know of now, mainly to the, Galveston, Texas area. Because you got to understand, when the 13th Amendment was passed, there was not many people were jumping on ratifying that. Even if you read the 13th Amendment, it's not a perfect law. It says is abolished except in times of punishment. People forget that. So, the 13th Amendment said, yes, slavery is abolished unless you're duly convicted of duly convicted, it could be used as a punishment. So, it's that's these are some of the events that came about out of that.
Yeah, what really blows my mind about it is that we're a free country, yet we use slave labor in our prisons. And this kind of brought me back to the critiques I made when the Black Lives Matter movement was picking up again in 2020, where we'd see like Nike say Black Lives Matter, and you'd have like Michael Jordan or some other famous basketball player saying Black Lives Matters with the on a Nike commercial, and then disproportionately black inmates are making Nike shoes with through slave labor.
Well, you got to understand. I think I mentioned this before. Capitalism itself has transitioned into democratization, not just of production, but of consumption. So, now when you get Jeff Bezos do a hashtag Black Lives Matter, or someone that owns a sweatshop that makes Jordans saying Black Lives Matter, People are looking at the hashtag versus the actual, the actual physical, meaning behind things. And that's actually a slippery slope of where we're at right now when it comes to activism.
Yeah. It's
So yeah, like,
anti-materialistic.
yeah, materialism. It's like, what's it called? Activism chic. Did I just make that up?
Yeah. Activism
So
chic.
yeah, activism chic. That's the way to put it. Like, I'm an activist and I'm chic.
Oh my
So
God, there's
yeah.
actual companies called Activist Chic, LGBTQ plus apparel, Activist Chic, Etsy,
Whoa,
Instagram.
whoa, 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 whoa. Stop, 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 stop. There's an actual company called Activism Chic.
Yes, activistchic.com.
Wow. Wow, I said that in terms to be facetious. I did not know that there was an actual company that named themselves after that. Isn't that
They
wow?
have a pride box. They have a pride box.
Awesome, awesome. We should
Oh,
buy it. Have a Pride box. That's awesome. Wow,
this
that's
is it's stuff like this that's just like it's not rooted in material conditions, and I feel like that's why we're seeing a lot of the problems we see, and why we're going to see an extreme right backlash against the fall progressivism that's going on right now. I feel like because we're so rooted in anti-material, like a postmodernism. That's a good way to describe it. It's the postmodern thought that's really taking away the material value of these things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, okay, I see that point. It definitely is. Um, well, we're a disposable society. You know, Everything's disposable in this society, and this
Hmm.
society has a attention span of a goldfish. So,
Yes.
that being said, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised if activism chic. You know,
I'm definitely not
um,
surprised at all.
yeah, yeah, we could put that style next to the male romper. That was actually a thing for a very brief time.
I remember the
So
romper.
yeah, for a male, that's a magical. But we'll put that right there. It was a passing fad. But the problem is these things aren't supposed to be passing fads. That's a big freaking problem. You know.
I feel like
Um,
it's you highlighted something that I'm a photographer too. Like I take pictures every now and then, and I used to be way more into it. I had a job doing it. Everything being digital, and even on my phone, when I take a picture, and my mom sends me a picture. It's not that I don't value the picture, but like I don't save it to put it in a photo album. Like, oh, cool, my mom sent it to me. I could just go check messages whenever I want, and I'll see the picture, be like, oh, that's cute, and then swipe out the app. I found, but I found boxes of old photo albums she used to make when I was younger, and photo albums from when they got married or my grandparents' photo
hello,
albums.
you cut out there.
What?
You
Can
cut out there
oh
for a
can
second.
you hear me
Sorry.
now? Where did I cut out after you?
Yeah, I could hear you. Boxes of photo album, and then you disappeared.
Oh, so basically like my family would make photo albums, and I realized like and even like I would develop film too and film photos, and I would look at these pictures and I would say, wow, like I really, like those were points of pride. Like you put them in a special book and you put them on a special shelf. And when you wanted them, you'd pick them out. And it was an event. You would scroll through the pictures and you'd physically hold the pictures. And then you would think about, oh, do you remember this? You know, when you go on your phone, it takes the human connection of the photograph out of the equation. It's almost like it's freestanding thing that doesn't exist. Like if you threw your phone in the lake, everything that you were consuming, whether it be on Twitter, CNN, New York Times, your photo album, your ebooks, none of that exists or has existed or any because there's no physical like landmark of it. It's just non-existent.
Well, isn't that what we're having the problem with cryptocurrency right now?
Mm-hmm.
People are starting to realize that it's not existent. It's kind of like, it's made up. They're saying it's not as secure as they think, and isn't that why we're having all these problems with the cryptocurrency nosediving?
Yep. Yeah. That's one of the major problems. I used to be somewhat of a crypto bro my senior year of college, and I lost all of my money on Dogecoin, and then I no longer was a
Oh
crypto
man.
bro. I had like $800, and I was like, oh, this is lit. My $40 really like kadoobled, bro. And then Elon Musk got on SNL, and it yeah. So you can imagine how I feel. Um, but it's
No,
not
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not real,
Imagine.
and I should have known better as a Marxist, but I was like, money. And yeah, um, we can't give college students too much credit, even myself. But I just, even when we describe, like, Juneteenth, at least, like, there's at least historical precedent, and there's the attempt to have the material community value of remembering that holiday. But like all things, if there's not a material basis for things, if there's not, a physical teaching, um, a lot of things get lost. Stories get lost. Translations get lost. I saw
You
actually.
know,
Yeah, what?
I want to I want to go back to what Frederick Douglass said about like emancipation and getting and African Americans getting their rights, and he said something that's really interesting. A man's rights rest in three boxes: the ballot box, jury box, and cartridge box.
Mm. Hmm.
And none of those say hashtag on it.
No.
And yeah, nothing saying wear a T-shirt on that. It's basic things that we can all abide by to make change. Vote, civic duty, and checks and balance on your government. That's pretty much basic things that he said, for activism. Those three boxes of liberty, freedoms, or what other historians want to name. That's pretty much what we need for activism. Those three things, like
Right.
Frederick Douglass stated. None of those are hashtags. None of those are freaking, just do it T-shirts with Nick's face on it. It's those three things. And I think over the years we kind of lost that. We lost ourselves. We lost our way. We kind of forgot what a freaking jury box is. Like more people vote for freaking American Idol than they do for elected officials. You know.
Yeah.
So, and how many times do we throw away jury summons? You know. So,
And people look away at the Constitution. They look away at the point of the First and the Second Amendment, and they look away at the point of the Fourth Amendment and the Ninth Amendment, not the Ninth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. People don't really care that their constitutional rights are getting evaded until it actually happens, and then they're like, "Oh, this now directly affects me." And it's like, "Well, dude, like you should oppose people that support the Patriot Act." Like,
yeah, but the thing is, like, even if their rights were taken away, they didn't know they had the rights to begin with.
yeah,
And you had a show, I believe, a week ago about civic duty, civic engagement, and
yes,
I think that's this all ties in Juneteenth, civic engagement. Frederick Douglass, with his three boxes of freedom or liberty, whatever historian refers it as what, because we do lack civic engagement. Because we are blinded by materialism. We are blinded by Joe Sixpack and reality Jane TV. So
and we're blinded by the fact, yeah, you're right. We're blinded by a lot of the materialistic things and just like, oh, I want to have the big house and multi-million dollars, but it's like, you know, all of that is non-existent if you don't have a country, and people care more about their dollar than they care about their country. Um, and it's a lack of education. I actually dug out an old copy of 1984 that a teacher at my high school gave me, because I got out of class early for a little bit because I had a broken foot, and I was waiting outside my class, and he would be out there as the bathroom monitor because apparently people can't pee responsibly, and he was like, "Yo, like, what do you think about all this stuff going on in the world?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's crazy right now." So he was like, I bet, like, I'm gonna give you this book, and he gave me 1984, and he's like, "Yeah, we can't teach this anymore because they cut the funding for the humanities and philosophy classes. So at least someone's gonna get something out of this." And I was like, "Wow, that's really messed up. Like, we don't have civic responsibility being taught. We don't really have that encouragement. Like, it should be encouraged from like kindergarten to senior year to volunteer, learn, and be responsible citizens, but it's not."
No, it's not. It's not at all, and that's a big freaking problem. But I also think about maybe this is by design too. You know, like that's it has to be by design. I'm assuming.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean,
You
like,
know.
listen, I don't know why, the rich of this country would want the United States to be crippled, but all I know is that, NATO wants to disarm our citizens. NATO would intervene if we do anything that is remotely like isolationist now, a la Canada during the Trump contestation of the election. There's a lot of scary things that are going on, and we have a lot of emerging threats, be it from Russia, from China, from our own bourgeoisie trying to start a quasi war that we are absolutely not prepared for. I don't understand why they would do such a thing. Um, I don't see a Marxist analysis of why the wealthy would want to actually physically destroy the country. I can't, unless they want to create like a quasi feudal state. But I mean, I don't know if you can answer that question, but that's what's rolling on my mind.
Well, personally, I don't. Well, this is just where I stand. I don't think NATO's trying to hurt anyone. I do think NATO, if anything, can be a friend, especially on keeping our economy going, because we got so many great freaking contracts with NATO. Um, I agree. Russia and China are definitely a threat right now. And everything else is kind of like smoke and mirrors. But people that okay, you ever heard of the God complex
Yes, yes.
when it comes to rich people? Like that's what I'm really starting to think it is. Like the Mercer family, especially the Mercer family, Renaissance technology. Like honestly, it's a great hedge fund for a lot of people. They made a lot of money, and now they have the money, and now they want the power. So they literally make these candidates out of head of the harbor. They created Lee Zeldin. They freaking helped make Trump. You know, they put Parler together, though they're losing tons and tons of money to do it. It's just like when they reach a certain level, they try to shape the country into their likeness. You know, and that goes back to a lot of rich people. In our history. Man, I forgot.
The business plot, Henry
No,
Ford.
the business plot, but yeah, Henry Ford. But even after that, you got the Heritage Foundation, which was founded by a bunch of crazy rich men. Um, you got
Nielsen
the
ratings.
guy that started the yeah, you got the guy that started the debt clock. I forgot his name. He was another right winger. Um, there was an oil tycoon that triggered a whole freaking stock market crash in 1983 and a silver shortage. Um, I forgot his name. It's driving me nuts right now.
It's
Man,
crazy how the wealthy could just destroy the country at the flip of a switch or just influence it in any way they want. But for us to do that, power is either political power comes out of the barrel of a gun, and if you control who has the guns, you control who has the power. I mean, and that's really what the rich has always been great at doing.
no, it is. It's true. It's true. It's true. It
I'm
is true.
the I feel like Zeldin's definitely gonna win the GOP primary and definitely like go toe to toe with Kathy Hochul. The thing is though is
No,
that
not no.
you don't think so?
Hell to the no, man. New York City, even freaking the 10% voting will not freaking will not support Zeldin. His pro-Trump shit freaking pissed off a lot of freaking moderates, man.
That's true
Even
too.
if you had like, yeah, he he's just like isolated so many people with his like crazy stuff.
I feel like he
His
only
pro-Trump
has
stuff.
clout. He only has clout in like Shirley and parts of like Eastern Suffolk, and that's really it.
Yeah,
I
and
can't
probably
see him
like
winning
freaking
upstate.
Buffalo.
Maybe Buffalo.
Well, Buffalo probably, yeah, because you got Palladino. That's kind of like, you know, that's kind of like you know, a Zeldin person.
Didn't he like
But
admire Hitler or something like that?
who Palladino?
Yeah,
Oh
didn't
yeah, yeah, yeah,
he
yeah,
said
yeah,
Hitler
yeah.
was a great public speaker. He did some good things, and I was like, "What? Like, really, dude? Like that? Really, bro? Like, come on! Like, open your eyes, dude." Like,
Yeah, that was like I don't even know where to begin with that. But yeah, that guy's a piece of crap. He's there's no ifs ands and buts about it.
he
You
could
know,
suck a
like,
fat
and the thing that
dick.
drives me nuts, people like Zeldin will not call him out. You know, that's the problem. You know, with Zeldin, he's a puppet. You know, when it comes to stuff like this. So
Literally,
you know the thing.
the only
Yeah,
thing I
sorry.
like about Zeldin is that he hates the SAFE Act. That's literally it. Everything else is trash. It's like, why can't there be like a really cool middle party where it's like, yeah, we like abortions and gay people, like that's all valid, like y'all are chilling. We also like guns, that's cool, that's chilling. Universal army, that's based. We should have some economic reform in there. Maybe we should teach some civic responsibility to our kids. I mean, just like a normal party that encapsulates both sides of the American, history. Uh, it really pisses me off that I have to choose between, like, I don't know, my guns and gas prices, or my gay people and abortions and all that stuff. Like why did the two parties have to be so split?
No, I got no comment. I don't. Well, you know what it is? It's tribal politics, though. So it's wedge issues too. You know that gets people freaking engaged to vote. The wedge issues. It's not the bread and butter issues. It's the freaking wedge issues, man.
Yeah, it
So
really is.
you know, yeah, you know. So you know, people don't look at the fact that okay, Zeldin freaking voted against New York to get freaking the money reimbursed into them freaking during COVID. You know, when they did the shutdown. You know, he voted against that. He refused to support that. That would have freaking bankrupted New York. People don't freaking focus on that, but people will focus on the fact that oh, he's pro-gun. You know, but what's going to impact you more, Zeldin being pro-gun or freaking New York filing bankruptcy?
Yeah,
You know, it's but the thing is you'll sit there and find wedge issues to pick at while following along national party lines to get tough with New York when his ass is in New York. You know, so the COVID relief money, he didn't vote for that. You know, Gabarino, given to his credit, he voted for that. He voted for COVID relief money for New York, and he's a Republican. He voted for the freaking transportation bill for Biden, and he's a Republican.
mm,
You know, they call him a rhino, you know, Republican in name only. But you know something, I disagree with a lot of things that Gabarino says about immigrants. But you know, like about how he thinks immigration is broken and how it's like really, really bad. No, it's not. But I think it's just that's his wedge issue.
mm.
But you know, at least he'll go in the center to support something. You know,
Zeldin
so I
definitely
give him
won't.
credit with no, Zeldin's freaking. How the hell is Gabarino's voting record and Zeldin's voting record so freaking polar different? Different, and they're the same freaking county. You know, Gabarino's like Sayville, and freaking Zeldin's like Shirley, and they vote opposite. They're literally within 10 miles of each other, and they're voting so damn opposite. It's like they're two different parts of the country.
Yeah.
You know, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I heard, I didn't watch the GOP gubernatorial, what the hell is it? The you know what I'm talking about, the primary. I didn't watch the primary debate, but I
Yeah,
heard that he was mimicking Trump and trying to pretend to be Trump, and it's like, why? Yeah, like I understand, like he's trying to fit like a role because he's the Trump Republican, and I was just kind of like, dude, like, eh, stop. I even looking at his face, I don't think he could even believe that he was doing it. He definitely had to be like told you have to pretend to be Trump to win this. Um,
I think it's the Mercer family. He's getting so much money from the Mercer family. It's not even funny.
you
Like the
and the
Mercer
Mercer
family's like
family,
the
man, we got to have a whole episode
because
on them.
they're the legions of evil, man. They are. You know how the right wing's always saying it's the Soros Foundation, the Soros this,
Mm-hmm.
Soros that. You know
Yeah.
how they're always saying George Soros is the boogeyman.
Yep.
Yo, the right wing boogeyman is the Mercer family. You know, seriously, it's the Mercer family. Everyone's like, it's the Koch brothers. No, it's not them. It's the Mercer family. The Mercer family funds Parler. Parler, I said Purdue. Parler. Parler is like the freaking right wing, freaking racist, freaking, you know, chat. You know, like a social media chat. You know, why they do that? Just because he can. You know, he literally funded stuff like that. Parler. You know, he funds freaking crazy right wing candidates. No, the Mercer family is like the legions of evil, man. They really are.
We are headed down a scary path, and I know we're kind of running out of time soon, But to get back to Juneteenth, what are some lessons we can take from the struggles for freedom that were fought by, Union soldiers, the workers, and slaves that we could apply to today's struggle against far right extremism and, the collapse of Republican democracy?
I gotta unpack that. That's a lot.
It's a good thing we got 10 minutes. Like,
That is a lot, though. Well, let's go for the low hanging fruit here on Juneteenth. Low hanging fruit is this. Um, you know, we don't know. Like many people are kind of surprised that this is the real Emancipation Day because of the simple fact that history is sometimes broken up into his story. His story is kind of like those two words in the word history.
mm,
And that being said, it was never taught the proper way. Teaching Juneteenth, the real meaning of it, and the meaning of the real Independence Day, not the second, but the real Independence Day, because independence means freedom for everyone, right?
right.
Not freedom for a certain amount of a certain portion of people. Teaching the real Independence Day is pretty much what we're supposed to aspire as a country. And that's Juneteenth. So, that's the best way to commemorate it. But we're a country that don't know their history, and even when we talk about Juneteenth, people still will not freaking teach it right. There's like over 20 something states that don't celebrate Juneteenth. Hell, there's states that don't celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday, such as Arizona. So,
Holy crap.
this goes back to America not wanting to own their history. That's the whole thing. Let me give you an example of something. I'll just close out with this. We have to denazify as a country. Do you know what I mean by that?
No.
Okay, this is a little controversial, but so when World War II ended, right?
Mm.
The German government, the new German government said this: every Nazi statue comes down. Every Nazi symbol is freaking equivalent to a freaking misdemeanor or felony charge. Okay, Nazi Party is illegal in this country. We're denazifying this country. Denying the Holocaust is illegal. We're denazifying this country. We're going to commemorate the victims of the Holocaust at every chance. We're going to preserve these relics because we knew it was real, and we have to keep it preserved to show that's real so people don't deny the Holocaust. Never again. We're going to be aligned with, the Jewish people, starting their new homeland in Israel. Never again. We're going to be aligned with that concept. Never again. And we're going to do that by not just having trials of Nazi war criminals, but also denazifying the country as a whole. You cannot deny the Holocaust in Germany. You cannot parade around with a swastika. And you can't be part of no damn Nazi freaking political party because that's illegal because it's considered a terrorist group. America never denazified with slavery. Never. Never denazified. Hell, after the Civil War, what do? We put up Confederate statues, created a whole alternative history about freaking the Confederates, freaking the Confederate legacy. Hell, we freaking have people that still freaking don't want to believe that slavery was really a bad thing in this country. We never denazified as a country. We never came to terms with our history like Germany attempted to do. Like we never even tried. We were like little kids about our history. Well, it's an uncomfortable history, so let's talk about the positive. No, you got to accept it all. And hopefully Juneteenth is like the step in the right direction for this.
Interesting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you don't see that, like, we at least have acknowledged the history in any capacity?
What, America? No. Not all of America is unified on acknowledging their history. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I see what
when
you're
you got
saying.
statues, when you got statues of Marion Sims in Central Park for 75 years, Marion Sims was the Dr. Mengele of America. The guy operated on enslaved women just to see what their insides looked like without any anesthetic. The guy was a serial killer. He was not no father of gynecology like he's been labeled. He's called the father of gynecology because he died with millions of dollars so he can write his narrative.
Oh.
So this guy gets a statue in Central Park when he's a freaking practically a serial killer because there's no other way to sugarcoat it. But once again, people walk by going, oh, that's the father of gynecology. No, that's a fucking serial killer. So, but the thing is, like, this is an example of us not coming to terms with our history. You know, when we don't come to terms with our history, we commemorate monsters like that. You know, you got Bedford Forrest. Bedford Forrest is the founder of the Ku Klux Klan. Well, his statue is in the fucking State House of Tennessee. That's a big freaking problem. Bedford Forrest. Why the founder of a terrorist group? You know, his statue is in the State House of Tennessee. You know, like, he's the founder of a terrorist group. Why is his statue in the state capitol in Tennessee? You know, like, this is an example of America not coming to their terms in history. You know, and even when you talk about Columbus, like Southampton had I think it was a couple of years ago, the middle school, the kids did a whole debate, and this is great when we talk about civic engagement and why Columbus Day should not be celebrated. Well, the local Knights of Columbus marched down there, went into the school, and terrorized the freaking kids, saying how they were wrong on what they thought. And these were a bunch of indigenous people that were coming up with this debate, you know.
Hmm.
And you got a bunch of white people saying no, Columbus was great.
Hmm.
You know, we never came to terms with our history, you know, and as a country, we have to denazify because, you know, we're never going to move forward unless we come to terms with our history. And then we got the critical race theory debates in Smithtown. You know, that just stirs the pot even more.
So,
So hopefully Juneteenth's a step in the right direction.
wow, that's definitely a lot to think about too, and it's a complicated history. I don't think there's really a. I think our only right answer is to keep pushing forward, and to look at the past, to look forward toward the present. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I don't know if that's like a
Well, let me
positive.
break this down. History not learned is history repeated.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying? You know, like, you know, look how easy it was for a demigod to come into power in this country. Look how easy that was.
It
Seriously.
almost happened in
Look how easy it
1933
was.
too, or 1935.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, but the thing is, you know, you don't want it to happen again. That's the whole purpose, you know? Like, just think we had a demigod come into power in this country, freaking led a revolt on the Capitol to overthrow our democracy. Think about that. That 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 that's crazy. Like, could you even imagine something like this happening? Freaking 4 years prior to that guy getting elected? No,
No.
I would have never even freaking imagined this. You know. So, you know, once again, history not learned is history repeated. So that's and we're a country that don't like to come to terms with our history. We only like to talk about the Mickey Mouse version of things, you know? Hell, we talk about Pocahontas, you know? You don't tell that Pocahontas was like freaking 14 years old and John Smith was in his 40s. So, no, they make it look like they're all these like young lovers and stuff, you know, what's it called? Colors of the Wind. They sing at the end. You know, come on, man. That's the version of history people want in America. And that's a problem because that's not the real version.
Right.
You know, that's not the real version. You know, people want to hear like Thomas Jefferson, great person. They don't want to hear that he was carrying on a relationship with a 12-year-old, you know, and having kids with his enslaved African who was like 12, 13, 14 years old. You know, they don't want to hear that, you know, and that's a problem. We gotta come to terms with our history. We did some horrible things. So
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's gonna be a long road for sure, and there's just gonna be a lot of backlash, especially with lack of educational funding, and if we're not even willing to teach civic engagement, how are we supposed to even teach our history properly? And that's gonna be a big deal. It's gonna be a big problem, and we also have these massive economic problems where we're not going to essentially have that debate because everyone's gonna be so angry that they can't afford shit. They're gonna look at the wedge issues and get mobilized by that, which I still don't understand. It's like, dude, like, you can't afford to fill up your truck. Like, why do you care about what pronouns someone uses? I'm confused. Um, I and trust me, like,
because
I
that
don't.
pronoun's making my gas $7 a gallon. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
exactly. Exactly. I'm like, listen, I get the pronoun debate. I understand, like, both sides of it, but it's just kind of like, dude, like, we can't afford to fill up gas. Our grocery is inflated by like 11%. It's getting ridiculous to live. So, maybe we should put some of those issues away and focus on the material causes for why things suck, and then we'll get better. Um, but that's basically my simple super duper analysis with only 5 minutes, well, 4 minutes left before we absolutely have to cut off. Um, I do want to say thank you for coming on again. And as always, it's been a fantastic educational talk. And I think the listeners have a very good understanding of what the holiday is and some of the connecting issues that, still work, that some of the connecting issues that can relate to 1865 to today. So I think that, this was an invaluable discussion for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Hey, listen, if you guys want to check out more Backpacking America things such as merchandise, since we're talking about material things, we got tank tops, we got beach towels, we got mugs, we got backpacks. Backpacking America backpacks, pretty cool. Check out the shop link in my LinkedIn tree, my link tree on my Instagram profile, or the shop link in the podcast description. Thank you again, everyone, for listening to episode 194, and have a very happy, very belated Juneteenth. Until next time.